we can get started already. Thank you very much for making it to the third and our last campus conversation today regarding the Extended Education Hub. This is the third project out of the three, but certainly an important one, as important as. Thank you very much. So once again, welcome to the last of our campus conversation series on the 2026 campus vision. Today we'll be discussing the Extended Education Hub. Like the last two talks, we will start with some opening statements as well as a short video, followed by an interactive portion where you get to use your phone to give us some feedback and ideas. To start off, I'll introduce our panelists, Dean Mahmoud Allam, Dean of Extended Education at AUC, Continuous Education, and Dr. Khaled, University Architect and Associate Professor, and will be joined by Dean Noha Melkawi, Dean of GAP, who's making her way to the hall as we speak. So to start off, we'll get to see a short video prepared regarding the Extended Education Hub.
Are we actually projecting what the market wants? Are our programs relevant and adaptive to the changes in the marketplace? That is a key point that we need to look at when we look at. Are we actually projecting what the market wants? Are our programs relevant? Are we actually projecting what the market wants? Are our programs relevant and adaptive to the changes in the marketplace? That is a key point that we need to look at when we look at the way extended education at AUC in the future should be shaped. Executive education and extended education at AUC started many, many years ago. If we actually go back, it started back in 1924. So next year we're celebrating 100 years.
The Extended Education Hub comes as a natural expansion of extended education activities at AUC, which has been growing steadily for decades. And with the increased demand on lifelong education in the area of New Cairo.
A place where we can integrate all our extended education activities. Currently, we have at least 4 entities that provide continuing education courses. The School of Continuing Education, the Executive Education in the School of Business, and Executive Education in the School of GAP, and the Engineering and Science Services in the School of Sciences and Engineering. We want to integrate these 4 entities in one building, which will allow us to collaborate together and bring better integration and efficiency to our operations.
With our instructors inside this building to be hours of growing, hours of co-learning, hours of empowerment, so that they leave this building feeling empowered enough to grapple with very complex realities and very many emerging challenges and opportunities.
I see the new building as a high-tech building.
Having specifically designed a space for continuing education, I think, will improve their experience and allow us to do things that are tailored to this level of professional participation.
Having spaces that are flexible enough to be changed in size and in function to help us all deal with emerging issues and deal with multiple designs for instruction.
The Extended Education Hub is expected to serve different type of audiences, ranging from teens and youth, going through professionals and C-suite executives. So it will be quite challenging probably to design a building that will fulfill the requirements of these types of users. And we're looking forward to seeing how we're going to face this challenge.
Thank you for that. We'll start off with a briefing from Dr. Khaled on the project and the planning vision of it.
Hello, everyone, and I will just quickly explain the project and the alignment of it with our strategic roadmap priorities that were set for the university and for a vision that actually started way back when, back in 1919, when the first campus was founded and continued on to our move in and acquisition of the land here in 1997 and the successful story that we are all enjoy and we are part of. If I take you through to the timeline, I'm sorry that this is the third time I'm saying it for some members here, but there are others that didn't. So I'll go quick. I'm getting better, okay, in that. So 1997, that's the land purchased, first footprint on New Cairo, the impact of New Cairo on the city can be felt, and everyone knows about where we are, where our location, and they actually put their proximity that always from AUC. So we started with construction in 2003, and then on to first day of classes in 2008, and then 2020, community started some type of master planning looking into the future, and got in about 2022 resolved some of our land issues that that took time and took effort, and we were able to get it resolved early on 2023. 2023 is our planning and design year for the project. 2024 on to 2026, that's where we look at the substantial completion of our projects and occupancy by 2027, early 2027, of course. Next, let's scroll down to the master plan, just a quick visual on where we are. This is our existing campus, of course. This is the undeveloped part of the campus where the 3 key projects are located. This is part of a much larger vision for a number of other projects that are planned for the university, but on the very long future, in the immediate future, 3 key priority, we call them the priority projects. First project is the next generation housing, living and learning for students. We're looking into a future generation of how students spend time on campus. It's not just a place reserved for sleeping or for just, residing there individually, but it's more of an interactive learning, equipping them with skills and equipping them most above all with friends and being part of an experience that is unique in itself at AUC. The next project is the Technology Research and Innovation Lab, which we had a conversation on it yesterday. This is the future. This is where an idea that's developed, made in AUC that will take AUC to the future of where we can combine and bring academia to the industry, where our students can actually get actual jobs while they're actually on campus and be part of incubator movement and activity companies, startup companies that look into innovation that is made at AUC and that's actually going out in the market. This is a key issue and a strategic issue for AUC's growth into the future. Finally, the hub, the topic of today's campus conversation, the Extended Education Hub, that's a service to Egypt. That is AUC's contribution to upskill the workforce in the future for those who are seeking to gain knowledge, state-of-the-art knowledge at AUC in a 6-week short courses and get and equip them with much better level of job training and knowledge that allows them to tap into green jobs and green markets, for example, and the like. So with this, I turn it to Sherif. That's kind of in a nutshell on where we are on the project. As I said, we're in the planning and design. We are currently in the planning and design. That's why these campus conversations have been taking place to get your input. It's not the only time where we're going to get your input. There will be other points of communication where we're all going to come up together and be part of how we're putting these projects together, that we hope that we're not going to take that too long. We have a deadline on this, and then we have to actually be with a shovel in the ground around June 2024, inshallah. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Khaled, for that. We'll hear now from Dean Allam on the potential and the vision of the project and where he sees this is taking the School of Continuing Education.
Thank you, Sherif. Let me start by redefining again what we mean by extended education, since I just was asked this question on my way in. So again, we're repeating the same message. Extended education includes all activities in lifelong learning conducted by AUC currently, ranging from the programs at the School of Continuing Education, which are targeting English language learners, professional skills and soft skill development learners, to the extended, all the way to the executive education level found in the School of Business and the School of GAP. So the plan, once again, is to have all these activities housed in the same building to try and synergize, to cooperate, to work together, to align our offerings to better serve the society at large, and to emphasize AUC's strategic priorities. One of them, as we all know, is the workforce, the workforce in Egypt, and how to upskill it, reskill it, develop it. And based on that, we thought that the Extended Education Hub, being located here on campus in New Cairo, would contribute to this vision and would maybe enable AUC to reach its aspirations to reach 1 million learners in lifelong learning. So what the Extended Education Hub would look like, as we heard on the video, we aim at having a high-tech building, an energy-efficient building, with facilities that would serve all kinds of delivery modes, be it face-to-face, online, dual delivery mode. So we would like our building to serve all kinds of, all types of learners that we were going to host. And in a way, looking at the future, we're not really sure how the future will evolve, how lifelong learning will evolve. The delivery modes, maybe it would change. So maybe the point that Dr. Noah mentioned in the video about a flexible design, an adaptable design, would be one important aspect that we would like to take into consideration. Finally, we as a committee, we are working hardly on collecting input and feedback and experiences that we've accumulated over several decades of lifelong learning at AUC. And we want the building to be like fit for purpose, to offer to the maximum the best location and the best environment for us to offer our extended education services to the society in Egypt and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dean Allam. We'll hear from Dean Noah now on the hopes and vision on what the Extended Education Hub would mean for the executive education currently offered at GAP.
Thank you. I don't want to repeat things you've already heard. I would just add by saying that for AUC to be at this juncture where it is planning on having a location that houses all of its extended education activities is a pivotal moment for AUC, and we all hope for Egypt and for the Arab region as well. Indeed, technology tells us we may not need spaces to have a learning experience. Yet we also believe that besides embracing whatever technological changes that will continue to come our way, that allow everyone to have borderless, spaceless learning spaces, we need also to embrace something that humanity excelled at and we hope will continue to excel at, namely working together, having empathy with each other's dreams, designs, visions,
innovative solutions and doing it together. This togetherness requires space and requires coming together. So we are envisioning a place that allows us to do all of the above, have the technology that makes it possible for AUC to extend its rigorous post-graduate education to many more in Egypt, in the provinces of Egypt, as well as many more in the Arab region and beyond. Technology will help us do that, but also have a welcoming space with an environment that allows people, when they want to come together, not only be together in the same space, but come together, co-create after co-learning together. This is the kind of space that we hope will be iconic in that way. For GAP's extended education, it will be an opportunity to extend our reach to government officials that we have had in the last 10 years, allowing us at AUC to walk the journey with the Egyptian government towards a transformative, effective governance model that is sustainable and inclusive. And it will hopefully allow GAP, because of the new technology, to reach out in its government service to other governments in the Arab region, particularly those that need us most here at AUC. Number one, the fast-growing governments with very fast development visions. This is primarily in the Gulf, as well as governments that are in fragile conditions, yet they have talented officials that need to further develop the skills. We will be there, hopefully, for them to service those two important communities in the region above the Egyptian government and its provinces, where they also need a lot of local government support. My final dream, together with our new Senior Director for Executive Education at GAP, Dr. Mohammed Fahmi Manza, is to also extend GAP's public administration transformative skill learning to the civil society sector of Egypt and the region. As the SDGs framework has said, civil society is a partner in development, and a very important partner in development. They also need management and leadership, further development. We would like to be there for them as well in the coming years. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dean Noha. Well, this is the part where we get a little bit more interactive. And with that, I wanted also to acknowledge that we are streaming online in a webinar. And I wanted to acknowledge and thank all those who are joining online. I think I'm reading more than 20 participants, so we have a full room in a sense. We'll now start to ask you, once again, to take out your phones and scan our QR codes to let us know a little bit your feedback on some of the questions that we have asked. Our first is for both of everyone who's here in the room or online, whether or not they would think they are interested in continued and extended education. So we really want to gauge the importance of As you're doing that, actually, I wanted to thank again Dean Noha for humanizing our vision of the project. I think that's it's a very important addition in a lot of our conversations in the last two and sometimes even at the beginning today with Dr. Khaled's briefing. We always think of these spaces more and more as just spaces that we're designing to allow things to happen and really thinking about the space and how it looks and things like that. But really the human dimension of what it means for AUC to have such a space to allow this empathy to happen, I think is one that is quite enlightening. So thanks for that. Well, we're seeing that, well, 60 to 2. So 2 people are not necessarily interested, but that's, it's part of it. Well, we were hoping just to see the blue bar, but well, it's good that we have, maybe the other 2 will be in the tri-lab, I hope. That being said, maybe I wanted to open up the floor again to our panelists with any reflection on what this means, on the importance of such continued and extended education in the future, and how maybe they see that as becoming a trend in the near or far future for AUC and Egypt, actually. So any takers from our panel? Thank you.
I have 2 reactions to this picture. Number one is, of course, I very sincerely and honestly want to know, those who are not yet convinced must have very strong and maybe also very interesting opinions. If they'd like to share them with us, or maybe one of the 73 can relieve them of the pressure and guess what could still be not explained enough, not convincing enough. That would be one thing I'd like to know about. The second and final remark I would make is, thank you very much for those 74 who've put their heart and their thumbs up and everything into this project. But this is a collective responsibility. We all will have to work out of silos and build together interdisciplinary programs that will allow AUC to stand up straight and claim that it is really serving people of the future, because problems don't come in silos. So the solutions cannot be in silos either. So I welcome those 75 hands up and hearts up to do interdisciplinary design with us once we launch this project.
Well, I think from the votes we're seeing here, there is a strong demand on lifelong learning, and I think this is the global trend. Every day we have new jobs coming up that require new skill sets to be developed, and we all know that some jobs will disappear, probably in the next 5 or 10 years. So the workforce will need to adapt to the changes, will need to adapt to the technology, we need to learn the new skills required to match the jobs available in the future. And I think I know who are the 2 people who clicked no. And I'm going to go after them.
Thank you, Dean Mahmoud and Dean Noha, for that. Any comments from our audience, please?
Okay. I believe I'm not one of them, doctor. I'm Rafi Raouf from the School of Continuing Education and the School of Science and Engineering in the Continuing Education, the Engineering and Science Services. So I'm totally for continuing education. I like your question, and that I'd like to share my insights here. I believe maybe the absence of a transferability transfer system to credit hours, maybe one of the points which is encouraging those unknown 2 so far, to not to go for continuing education. So I would suggest that maybe we need to develop a transfer system for credits or for continuing education units to credit hours that will lead to that any hour I'm investing in training or educating myself, developing my skills, this could support me maybe through micro-credentials, maybe through special courses, will support me to my next academic degree. So maybe this is one recommendation to be put on the table. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Any other comments on on that first question. Well, maybe we can move to the next one then. Okay. So now we're asking you more about the type of extended education that you think you will need. I mean, that's of course to the 78, or maybe actually to the 2. Specifically, maybe what is missing in the current extended and continued education offering that they think would make them more interested in it actually in the future. So of course a lot of AI coming up. That's okay. Data, liberal arts, okay, that's art, leadership. Well, as we're seeing all these topics kind of pop up on the screen, any first reactions?
I see arts coming up a few times. And here I would like to mention that we've already thought of this direction together with Dean Malloy. We've been discussing offering different continuing education opportunities and offerings to the public. We have several departments at AUC that are very special. They have an accumulated knowledge that could be shared to a certain extent with the public. And we're discussing already with the different faculty and department chairs at the School of Haas, offering continuing education in many liberal arts, humanities. We're discussing offering maybe psychology, some programs in art, in music. So we're already working in this direction. AI, yeah, of course. AI, of course. Being a computer engineering professor myself, I definitely see AI as an important direction in offering continuing education, particularly when it's applied to the different fields. And here I would say that we, at the School of Continuing Education, we've already started doing that. We're offering like the application of AI to teaching languages, which is a workshop that we've offered a couple of times so far, and the demand on such a topic is increasing. So we're planning on having similar offerings in the different areas as well.
Okay. Well, thanks for this. Dino, you have a... we have a few more lined up.
I will just have a quick reaction to allow us to move on to the next questions. I see some interest in technology, big data, artificial intelligence, and the like. We had a conference in the last 2 days, joint conference between the School of GAP and the School of Engineering on artificial intelligence and communication. And we seriously are considering now, hopefully, a cooperation, because artificial intelligence and technology in general is becoming that sort of thing where we can sit and disagree vehemently on, is it good or is it bad? Is it dangerous or is it enabling? And here is a question for regulation and for public policy that sets the rail guards. So that would be an area that I promise you would want to take seriously as extended education, that says if we do AI and technology, what are the regulatory rail guards for us to make sure it doesn't end up being a complete disaster for humanity?
Thank you very much. Dr. Khaled, you wanted?
No, it's a quick looking over. I think AI is a common here by many of the responses, and they keep growing. And I think there is an issue here of maybe the ethical issues too that surrounds AI and how and many other of these thematic areas. Like I would think that the role of the hub would be to not just to skill, but more to raise these questions and allow those who maybe have approach or different understanding to how they actually conduct their own profession to get back on maybe a baseline or a benchmark that would kind of correct a bit some of the assumptions that are could actually emerge with the penetration of AI in many industries. So I see that I counted about 10 maybe or more of the responses on this, and I think that reflects a campus-wide still question mark about the AI and how it touches our fields of specialization. I speak in architecture, for example. By itself, we are still as a community trying to figure out what the extents of what is done by AI versus what is done by actually the innovator, the thinker, the originator, and to what extent we can take that forward. So that's one of the key issues, and I think it will actually touch in the tri-lab, and it will actually be part of our future.
Well, thanks, Dr. Khaled, for that. And I think if I look at the categories of what's coming up, certainly upskilling in technology or other fields is something that comes up, but I think what we're hearing from our panelists as well is that question of critical upskilling. What does that mean? And maybe that could be a defining direction. But what's also, for me, very interesting is a lot of this interest in arts and humanities, and not necessarily in terms of education, academic education of these fields, but really their application in the industry. I've read museology, I've read curation, you know, so these are practices that exist in our culture that don't necessarily are not necessarily covered. So maybe that's an interesting part. And maybe we can move to our next question there. So, well, I think that links to the earlier comments we've heard about the need for a physical space. And in a context of extended education, we really want to know what is it in terms of physical or spatial experiences that would get you interested to be in a physical space for extended education and continued learning, knowing that probably this will happen after hours, after a long day of work, with a lot of other responsibilities, of course. Maybe as the answers are coming in, we open up the floor maybe for questions or comments from our audience. We have a...
Hi, my name is Mohab Anis. I'm a professor at the School of Science and Engineering. I have two comments, actually. The first one is it's good to see the technology there, but I think that the experiential type of learning should be something that we could certainly focus on in this new unit that we're trying to develop. There's a lot of gamification techniques that can be used now for facilitating education and to excel with the different skills. And the other things like using virtual reality to train people on certain situations that not necessarily would be easy to have in the workforce. So using these type of technologies to facilitate the kind of learning. My second comment is, this is what Dr. Mahmoud was mentioning. You mentioned that you want to aggregate all the different type of executive educations at the AUC in one place. One thing that I think could be considered is the branding consideration, because we don't want to create a branding crisis where we are serving C-level executives with certain content, and then at the same time we have people with different backgrounds, with different education levels. This could create a situation. So the branding consideration, I think, will be important for the AUC to consider.
Thank you for these comments. Any?
Yeah, if I can just respond to that. We're in the initial, how our discussions among the four groups, we have spoken about the executive education and the nature of it to have not separate zones, but separate experience. So architecturally or spatially, there will be distinction according to the level of education that's offered. I'm not saying that we fully insulate the execs from exec education from the campus, because a big part of why we need them is to actually, they want to come back to campus, to feel they're on campus, talk with our students, and have ideas and discussions around that. However, in the programmatic nature of the building, definitely the space is different by virtue of the operation and the vocabulary of the actual components that are required actually.
So I'm not referring to the space. I'm talking about the brand, the actual brand itself. That someone who is from a C-level corporate, he is receiving a certain certificate with a certain brand from the AUC that is coming from with a certain name, whereas another person who is receiving another certificate from a very different education level, very different background, and that may create kind of like a crisis when it comes to from a branding point of view. So. You know what I mean?
Well, I just want to carry on this because I actually teach in ESS some courses to upskill students with green technology and rating systems, and in the same time I teach the same students, our undergraduates, good part of this knowledge to design the same buildings as well. So I put education to the professionals who are coming back. And in the same classroom, I use common material and I give it to actually the students. The issue here, yes, AUC's brand and logo is on the certificate, whether it's a diploma or an undergraduate or graduate degree. So I'm not sure where is the crisis or the issue. The issue here is who disseminates and where to get the knowledge. And that's the main issue here. Where to go and get that, because you can definitely learn lots of free learning online under different brands. But if you're local and you need local knowledge that actually attain to the market, you need to go somewhere. So I'm unclear on the distinction. Maybe someone else could help out with this. I don't see a problem.
That issue. It's not only the experience that Khaled is talking about.
Thank you, Provost Abdulrahman, for that. I'd like to direct back our attention to the answers here and looking back at that face-to-face networking, peer-to-peer. A lot of these answers are what is coming up in in what would get us in these locations. Maybe any comments from the audience or our panelists regarding some of the answers that we're hearing about the kind of activities or spaces that people would be interested in?
Hello everyone, I'm Dua Salim. I'm Director of Programs and Partnerships at the School of Continuing Education. And I myself am alumni, graduated 1996. And I wish to comment on the branding issue. As a graduate of AUC, I have my friends who graduated the same year, and they are very much interested in continuing education and lifelong learning. And they keep asking me about what else we can do to improve our skills, what else we can do to shift our, or advance our career. And they are very much interested in the programs offered through the extended education. And I haven't heard something related to the branding issue, but the point is that what I have heard that we've been working or we've been serving the Egypt since almost 100 years. Next year will be 100 years. And some of them, they don't know that we're offering extended education, lifelong learning. I see that AUC is branded as elite education for the undergrads and the graduate credit hours. So why not we also plan to be branded as continuing education and extended education elite lifelong learners. This is a comment that I wanted to add to the branding issue. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Dean Mahmoud or Dean Noha, any response to this? It's okay. Well, certainly I think, and that's the hope with the Extended Education Hub, to be there, visible, accessible as a space. Consolidated, efficient, I guess, to add to this in a way to be able to reach out to all those in need. If we don't have any further comments on, sure. Oh, okay. Sorry. Go.
Thank you very much. When it comes to the entire idea of branding and the differentiation between the different schools and so forth, this is also a common example in different industries. If I use, for example, the car manufacturing industry and Volkswagen Group. Volkswagen Group has plenty of different brands that definitely use a lot of economy of scale in some of their activities. Still, we will never find that they will use, for example, a single showroom to have Volkswagen or for example, Bugatti next to each other or Bentley. So the economy of scale can easily be done whenever there is no direct contact with the end user, because they do not need to know how finance is working or so forth. But whenever there is an interaction between the different entities, then we have to take into consideration that each entity serves a different type of client that needs a different type of communication, that needs a different type of interaction regarding sophistication, regarding the level of service that they expect in exchange of the investment that they do in such education. So it is very interesting to study and work on what we can do in order to achieve economy of scale. And one of the earlier example that we already have together, we all use the same IT infrastructure, we all use the same learning management system, and so forth. There are things definitely that we can enhance on, and there are things that needs to be kept in a different format, I guess.
Thank you very much for this. We have a comment here as well. Maybe we'll move to the next question to allow our audience to continue the interaction as we hear the comment. So we can move to the next question. So this next question, I'll introduce the question just quickly, is just to ask you about the one thing that you would be really excited or to see in that new building. This is just a one word, and we'll see the word cloud building up as we hear the comment. Thank you.
So I want to continue on what Mohammed just said with regards to the can you hear me? With regards to the customer experience itself, because we have a lot of hiccups in the customer experience with regards to the extended education at large. So I think while developing a new space and a new excitement about the place, we need to also think of how to make the experience for our customers seamless. That includes the branding, that includes the communication, that includes the type of services that we're offering, the branding of the building itself. And I think this is of utmost importance because within the different units, we don't really have that distinction, and therefore the experience itself has a lot of problems with the end user. So that was one thing. The other thing is, I think while we're developing this, we should not just look internally, we need to bring in our learners, our alumni, and ask them what they're looking for as well. So I think that's an important part as well to consider.
Well, thank you very much for that addition. And I think as we're seeing now all these responses, 50 and counting, I always like these word clouds. It's kind of fun seeing them build up. And again, we're seeing, I think, this interesting merge between the human and the technology in a way. Any comments from our panelists on this keyword as it develops?
Mission Impossible?
It's a lot of aspirations. The good thing is that the words that people choose more than once start to get bigger. So I think greenery is something that's green tech, I guess. We can green areas that are technologically advanced. That's an interesting.
My only reaction to that, besides, yes, we will not be able to do everything, otherwise it's mission impossible, is that I want to assure all of you, a lot of what you're writing here are things that we have been coming up with in the various task forces. So we are completely aligned and in tune with many of your desires here. Food and comfortable furniture definitely was high on the list of many of us as well. And of course, it goes without saying, tech-oriented, sustainable, smart, and all the rest of it. Interesting. We really did mention and touch upon a lot of your very interesting desires in that building. So we are in sync.
Well, thanks for that. I think it's really very interesting how it's developing. I was kind of liking when art was a little bigger, but art, the keyword art was kind of bigger there, and I was kind of looking forward to see more art in our buildings. But maybe I guess the co-working and the greenery, I think, are really. So this human and technology mix, I think, is going to be really defining. Well, the next question actually helps us even define things a little better by asking you about that one thing that you certainly don't want to see in that building. So it would be interesting as well to see what kind of a different word cloud would be built around that. As the answers are coming in, any comments maybe on the...
كاتس كبيرة. أنا my comment على the my colleagues. And my comment على the previous word cloud, although it might sound like mission impossible, but what I can read from all the words is that when you decide to take an extended education course, then you're taking money from your pocket, you're taking time and effort, you're leaving your family behind. To make this happen, even though the learning is a very important aspect of it, but sometimes people would like to have it as a fun experience as well. So it's not adding to my stress, but actually adding to the relief from work and from the pressure. So what I see from the words is having a place that is people would love to go to, even if they're extremely tired. And this is not mission impossible. I think that's my reading to it, yeah.
Thanks for this. I think that's quite an interesting way to think of it. It's like a destination. Dean Noha, I see that you have the mic. I think, well, there's a few laughs around what's showing up here, and I think we can all relate to a few things. So maybe.
I want to comment on the cats. I want to be a voice for cats here. They are annoying, definitely they are, especially when they don't allow you to eat in peace. That's definitely true. But let's widen our definition of sustainability, folks. Sustainability is an environment that has all the biodiversity in it. And I used to work in the United Nations, and one of my secret weapons when I would visit an office as an advisor to the team and realize there are lots of tensions in the team and they've tried everything and it doesn't work, I would ask them, bring your home pet with you to the office and just let it roam around. And I am not praising myself here, but I want to tell you, in support of cats and other animals, they do change the working environment when they came into the office, not every day, but once. So let's be kind to the environment with all of its diversity. The other point I would like to make on art, 100 thumbs up for making our buildings and making AUC more of an art space. But it shouldn't be only showing the art, it should be also using it to enhance and augment our co-learning together. Art has an amazing power besides just watching it and enjoying it. So I hope we will be able to do that in the Extended Education Hub.
Thank you for this, Dr. Khaled.
In addition to cats, although I thought that we're cat friendly in the community and you know that people play with them, but that's fine. We'll do our best to prevent cats from getting into the new buildings. But on the issue of complicated maps, and that's something that, yes, we are working on some smarter ways of wayfinding. We agree, totally confess that some of the wayfinding for us, especially for our visitors, are maybe require some upgrades, along with the issue of comfort in general. Here there's, I believe I've seen a comment about stress, and that's extremely important of how good architecture and good design could relieve some of the stress that occupants go through, whether they're students or whether staff, faculty, all our community, while they're on their own work cycle. So it's also another dimension that's being taken into consideration. And if we have chances in the future, we will present to you a concept or how the design is driven by health and well-being. It's a key criteria for that design.
Thank you very much. Well, sorry, our microphones are I think, running out of battery, telling us that it's time to close. And with that, I think we'll leave that last question for you to know more how you want to continue to interact with us. But with this, we thank you very much for your attendance, and I sincerely thank Dean Mahmoud, Dean Noha, and Dr. Khaled, as well as everyone who was making it to our online webinar and interacting with us. We certainly don't have 70 people in the room, so we know very well that they were also interactive, and that makes us very happy. Again, thank you very much for your time, and we will continue our conversations around these 3 projects, and we hope to see you in future conversations. Thank you.